phone right now.
Hello.
Hey, how you doing, Ian? All I have is excuses. I have no reason that is good. Only excuses as to why I'm late with the phone call. So
Excellent.
I'm
Excellent.
sorry.
Great.
I'm sorry up front, and I'm so glad you're laughing at this because I'm like, oh my God,
Yes.
I'm an idiot. I'm the dumbest. So I usually put these things on my phone. I'm usually trying to be a nice, responsible person, but I don't know what happened. I really don't know why I didn't put it in the phone. It's in my calendar, but no reminder that usually pops up.
I am not a big phone, calendar person. So everything is in my paper calendar. Yeah. And that just, for some reason, that always works for me. But,
Well, you're the smarter man, obviously.
So.
You're the smarter man, and you are the one who are on top of this. And you're in New York right now.
I am back home. Yes, it's a lovely, lovely thing.
Lovely, lovely thing. Hey, welcome to Stage Door, a theater podcast hosted by a couple of average guys from Northwest Ohio, Southeast Michigan. And we're talking to Ian Knauer. I said the name right, I hope, right?
Yes, you did perfectly. I'm very impressed.
That's because of Jacob Toth. If I didn't have him on the podcast that said the name exactly, I would have dropped that K for sure, and it would have just been, Knauer.
That's always the talking point whenever I go into auditions
default,
or pretty much anything. Yeah.
My last name's Omler, and nobody ever says it right. They're always like Omlor, so I feel your pain on all these kinds of things.
It always is a good conversation starter. Yeah. So there you go.
There you go. And I'm always like, whatever, just embrace it. It is what it is. My son is going into performing, and I told him, I said, just be prepared. You're going to have the rest of your life have to say how to say your name. You know this, right? He's like, yeah, whatever. Yeah. So the biggest thing is that Jacob told me about you. He just dropped it. He just dropped it in his big, long 2-hour conversation that we had with him. He just kind of said your name, and I was like, write that name down. Write that down. The guy's from the area.
Yes.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Jacob in ages. I really need to rectify that. I need to give him a ring. But I've known Jacob for a very, very, very long time.
You're the one who kicked him in the butt, he said. He's the one who's basically like, listen, loser, you can't be doing it in Chicago. If you're going to take this seriously, you need to get your rear end to New York City. And he's like, well, maybe I'll go to New York City.
Well, everybody has to do that for themselves. I can only say my piece, whatever works for me, and maybe a couple of recommendations, but, everyone has to make their own choices.
Listen to the humility. You're obviously from Ohio. So let's hear the biggest thing you've done. Let's start there first. I always like to say, what is the big thing that Ian has done that all of us would be like, oh my gosh, you did that? What is it that you've done?
Yes, it's such a great question. Nobody has ever asked me that before. I think, and this is not going to be the answer that you want, but I think having been a successful actor for 45 years.
No, that's a great answer. Why is that not a great answer?
I think for me, that is the biggest thing I've done, and hopefully it will be, 46 and then 47 and then 48.
No, that's amazing.
There are other things like my only time performing at Carnegie Hall. That was a good one. I've performed at Royal Albert Hall, which is like Carnegie Hall, but in London. That was huge for me. Getting to perform on the Stranahan stage.
Oh, nice.
I've only done that once, and that was a real thrill to finally get to perform in my hometown.
What was the show?
After being it was 42nd Street, so this was 90, I don't know, 94. So it was before I had been on Broadway, I think. Maybe it was. Oh,
you just been on Broadway. You're just gonna drop that in there just now. Oh, before I was on Broadway.
Yeah.
I did that.
Oh, yes. And, of course, being on Broadway is something I'm very proud of.
Kind of a big deal, yeah.
Yeah. So, I'm very fortunate that I have done a lot and in many different capacities, stage, film, voiceover, concerts, cabarets. But I love doing as much and as much variation as I can. Obviously, while working with great people, doing great parts, and making money at the same time.
Being able to live, exactly. And then you graciously returned an email message or a text message or however the heck I got a hold of you to this lowly little Stage Door podcast in Toledo, Ohio. So I appreciate that. After this illustrious career that you have, I mean, holy smokes.
Well, and it is an interesting thing as an actor because, yes, I'm very grateful for all that I have achieved and all that I have done with the help of many, 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 many other people. But, I don't think I'm the only person, but I always think, oh, it could be so much better if only I were doing this and if only I were here. And I think personally, not without going crazy, I think that is a very important aspect of being an actor or of being an artist. Because if you are satisfied, then I kind of feel like, well, then maybe performing isn't for you.
Yeah, you got to stay hungry.
You've got, pretty much.
Staying hungry, always putting out there. I mean, especially with what you've chosen for your life, man, you got to always be on top of it.
Well, and I'm 57 now, and I'm still auditioning. I will continue to audition for the rest of my life.
Well, I know I had to keep postponing this because every time I got a hold of you, you're like, I'm doing something.
Yeah.
And I loved it.
Which is good.
No, it's very good. It's very good. So you had just come from where back to New York City? You were on a boat, weren't you? Is that what I'm thinking?
Yes. So they have this wonderful contract on Disney cruise ships called the Broadway Guest Artist Contract.
Oh, wow.
And it's usually for the older person in the show. But I have done several contracts on the Disney Fantasy. Usually the contracts are about 2 months, so it's nice. I get on the ship, I get to perform these wonderful shows with really terrific people, and I get to see great places, and then I get to come home. So it's a nice gig. That kind of, the idea of it is that it fits in between other regional gigs or Broadway gigs.
What part of the world were you in? Were you in the Caribbean? Were you in the Mediterranean?
I was in the Mediterranean for the summer.
Nice.
Yeah. So yes, it was very
2
nice.
months floating around.
The last time I was in the Mediterranean was in this capacity was 1990, 91.
Oh, wow.
Because I had done a cruise ship right out of college. Well, my first job out of college was Disney World. And then I did a summer gig out in California. But then my kind of third professional gig after college was Queen Elizabeth II.
I'm going to make you go through all of these gigs, just so you know. So we're gonna. So this boat, you were on the Mediterranean for a while, and you were like floating around. You work like 4 hours a day or something, maybe like 5 days a week, and then you get to go out and when you get on land and go see Italy and Greece and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I wasn't actually working that much, but
so Jacob said this. I didn't want to act like he didn't work, but Jacob's like, oh, what a piece of gig. I mean, I worked for a little bit. It's 40-minute show.
It's a pretty. It's a pretty good gig.
Yeah, yes, I pay for my food, I pay my housing, I work for 40 minutes on a show, then I do another thing, then maybe another 40 minutes here. It's like, no problem. Yeah.
But the thing about being a performer is, so maybe and I'm not going to make it sound difficult because it is what it is.
You're not digging ditches, exactly.
100%. Yes, you have to be 100% when you're on.
Yes.
So that is the gig. You have to be. Like, even if you're not feeling well, even if you're injured, you either make the choice that you're going to do the show or you don't. Yeah. But when you are, you have to, it's got to be all, everything.
Absolutely.
But, the rest of the time, it is, I do get to enjoy, and I try to enjoy everything that is there. But I do need to keep in shape, and I do need to keep my voice on top of its game, and all of those things that maybe are not necessarily a part of somebody else's job.
Right. So. I can get fat and sassy all I want. You can't do that. You got to be flexible. You got to work that throat. You have to drink your tea. I'm going to have my alcohol, my whiskey, and get fat and sassy. That's a life I don't have to worry about. So, but you have to be beautiful. So there you go.
Well, no, thank goodness I don't have to be beautiful. That is a good thing.
What were you on Broadway? What shows were you in on Broadway?
I have done 5 Broadway shows. So my very first one was 1996.
You are a huge deal. You are a huger deal than I realized.
I did State Fair. So that was a Rodgers and Hammerstein show, or it is a Rodgers and Hammerstein show. Then my second Broadway show was By Jeeves, which is a very fun, ridiculous musical written by Alan Ayckbourn and Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Oh, I won't pretend to know it. I don't know everything. I'm just an average guy. So.
And then my third Broadway show was Mamma Mia.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then Dames at Sea, and then my most recent show was Anastasia.
Oh my gosh, were you in Anastasia? Were you a character in the background or just a real character?
Well, I covered the character guys in the show, so I got to go on for Vlad, the lead character guy, and then Anastasia's father and a couple of other ones too, which was fun.
So you got awesome. Not Dimitri, obviously, he's younger, right?
No, much younger.
Yeah. You had to be the Vlad who was going after the Duchess. Is that what she's going after?
That's right. Yes. The Countess. Yes, very good.
Hey, no. I cheat. My son was in the show. So.
Oh, I love that.
I love the shows. I love every show that my kids have all been in. So I cheat and remember everything. So I don't want to act like I know every show out there. I know the shows that my kids were in mostly. So if they were in it, I'm like, ooh, I'm an expert on this one. I can name all the songs they sang. So awesome. So let's start back when you were just a babe, okay? When you were a little tiny thing and you started doing all this. Where were you born and raised, first of all?
So I was born in Toledo, Ohio. And my mom is a physical therapist. She's British. Ooh. And my dad was a truck parts and accessories business owner. Okay. An American. So my last name is Knauer. He kind of found where his father founded Knauer Supply Company. Okay. And so they supplied truck parts and accessories all over the country.
Yeah, it's a huge deal. Anyway, big distribution probably, right?
But both of them were not in the business. Right. So I was born to them in Toledo, Ohio. And from a really young age, my parents had my brother and sister and I, we learned to play the piano, we learned instruments, and we all went to church and we all sang. Oh, so my first start was kind of in church choir. So we went to a church near my home when I was a little kid, and then we moved to another church called Epworth, which is in Ottawa Hills. Yeah. And it was at Epworth when I was in like 4th, 5th, 6th grade that the choir teacher there, Nancy Ross, I think her name now is Nancy Ross Zimmerman, she came up to me one day and she said, Ian, you should audition for this local dinner theater production of The Sound of Music. And I said, great, what's an audition? So she helped me fill out the paperwork, and I sang Wouldn't It Be Loverly from My Fair Lady. Oh. And out of about 500 kids, I got the part of Kurt at Westgate Dinner Theatre.
You were just little then. The part of Kurt.
Oh yeah. So I was 11, and I did the show for about 9.5 months, I think.
Wow.
So that was my very first professional
What was
job.
this dinner theater, may I ask? Because I know it's come up before.
It's called Westgate Dinner Theatre.
Everybody, I think a lot of people made their little debuts in that area.
Oh, yeah.
Like, where is this Westgate Theater now? It's like we don't have that anymore.
It doesn't exist. So Westgate Shopping Center, I think, is still there.
Oh, yeah, it's still
at the corner.
I live right next to it. Yeah.
Central and Seacourt. So we used to live 2 blocks from there in that area.
Yeah.
So that's where I grew up.
There you go. Old Orchard or Ottawa Hills?
Old Orchard.
Old Orchard. See, I live right there too. So I live right in the same area as you do. I can hear the bells ringing for the University of Toledo. I can hear the Rockets firing off when they score a touchdown. I hear it all. Yeah, that's amazing.
That was kind of where I got started, and I just fell in love with performing, and I fell in love with being on the stage. And
so 11, you were just singing in church then. You were just singing in church, and the director said, you need to do this thing. And then you were like, oh my, what? I can do this?
And then I auditioned, and I just got it. And I loved it.
Amazing.
So it was like 2 years later, I did another show at Westgate Dinner Theatre. And then kind of during high school, it was all community theater.
Right.
And then I made the decision to go to the University of Michigan.
Gotcha. So, wait, did you go to Start? Did you go to
oh, no.
St. John's?
St. Francis.
Oh, St. Francis?
St.
Okay.
Francis.
I was just trying to figure out where you were going. So you're a St. Francis grad who then, and then you went to St. Francis. They have a good theater program there?
Yes, and I was really very lucky because St. Francis had that amazing, or still does, have that amazing musical theater program.
They have a great musical theater program there now.
I really got to learn all about, having to rehearse and, learning about working with other kids and other people and the how to put on a show, all of that stuff, because the shows were so big. You realize that you're just one part of what makes a show work.
100%. The performer is just one. But you didn't experience that? You didn't feel that when you were doing the dinner theater stuff?
Well, I was 11.
Oh, yeah. You were just showing up and singing. Yeah.
I was like having a great time. Yeah. I was like, just doing the thing.
Still, you got to go to every rehearsal. You had to warm up. You have to do all these things even when you're 11.
But that was fun.
Yeah.
I was going to grade school, but it wasn't like it didn't really feel difficult. But then once I got into high school, then everything started to have a little bit more weight. Maybe. I don't know.
Hey, your brain was developing more and you thought it was more weighty, probably. You're like, it still was just fun. It's just fun.
Yeah.
But you're like, wait, no, I have to get the roles now. If I don't get the roles, who am I? Right? That kind of thing.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I remember not getting the part that I wanted in my junior year. And so that was a really great lesson for me because the director said, well, basically, I don't need you to do the lead role. I need you to do this character role. I don't have anyone who can do this character role. And I was like, oh, I see. So it's not just what I want. It's what I'm right for.
You accepted that? You didn't want to? I'd been like, I'm burning this place down, man.
No, it was great because then you start to go, oh, okay, so I need to figure out where I fit in every show, or maybe I don't fit in that show. So then it just makes it a little easier as you're going along to try to, you're not you're not busting your butt to try to get into a show that you're not going to get into anyway.
Gotcha. You're not going to be Dimitri anymore. You have to be Vlad, right? That's really what it is, though, right? It's the same kind of thing. It's like not everybody's going to be this person because that's just not the way it is. You can't play Cole House if you're white, okay? That's just not how it works, okay?
That's right. Yeah.
No matter how great a singer you are, I don't think the audience is going to be able to relate or accept that casting.
Well, and you don't want it because that's not the story.
Exactly.
The story is the story, and you want it to be told so that people get the story.
And and the person is supposed to, as the audience member, myself, is supposed to lose themselves into that show and believe that you are that person. And that's a big thing for me is like if I'm distracted by somebody in the role who is like, I'm just not feeling it. It looks like somebody up there playing that character, not the character.
Yeah.
And that could be a big pull away from it. So I get that. So you didn't get the role your junior year, and you were told that we need you for this thing, and you were cool with it. That's great.
Yeah, that was a good lesson for me. But yeah, so then of course, my parents did not want me to go into theater because, of course,
it's theater.
Nobody. Well, yeah, and we, there was no internet. We didn't have cell phones. There was nothing. There was no way to know what a performer did, how they made a living, where did they live, how did they get jobs.
Right. And your parents both did very practical jobs too. She was a physical therapist.
Yes.
It was just, you knew what a physical therapist did. You knew where a physical therapist worked. Your dad had a parts department. He knew that's what he was going to be doing. It's like, these are people have cars, dang it. We know they need parts. It's very understandable.
And they loved theater. So luckily, we used to go, and of course it was the Masonic Auditorium when I was growing up, but we would go to the Stranahan 4 or 5 times a year, seeing shows since I was a little kid. So my parents did have season tickets, and we did go see shows. So the value of seeing shows was there. It just was not a way to make a living.
Right. No, I mean, that's beautiful that you had at least family that was in enjoyed, supportive of the arts, just, like never had any thoughts that maybe their child would want to do it is all.
Yeah. So it was really tricky because I really wasn't sure what I was going to do, but I loved helping people. So I went to, I asked if I could double major to my parents, and they said, I don't know why they agreed, but they said yes. So I double majored in musical theater and pre-med.
At Michigan?
Yeah. So,
okay, first of all, Michigan is a no-joke university for musical theater right now. Was it back then as huge of a deal to get into that program?
It was, but it was just beginning. I was in the first group that, so it was. So
Michigan is the
program.
House that Ian built. Is that what you're saying? That's
no.
what it is. Thank God, Ian Knauer.
I got to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to be there at the beginning, and so it was a remarkable program. But when I started, I think we started with a group of 15 of us, and when I graduated, I think there were 8 of us, and now they have, I don't know, 20, 23, something like that
Still
a year,
very many,
and nobody leaves.
Yeah.
Everybody, wants to. Really,
well, they're coming from all over the world, and not just the country. They're coming from all over the place. There's a handful of really well-renowned musical theater universities, and that's right at the top. So they know that now. So they've built
it was
a great
and
program
I really loved it, and I obviously dropped the pre-med, into my second year.
Oh, okay.
So and I did take other classes. I did some business classes and some psych classes, but really I knew, I had started getting roles, and I started to really, I just felt like I was possibly going to make it. I think
I might be okay at this.
Yeah, I really, you just don't know. But what was great about being at Michigan for me, and I imagine this is the story for most kids, is that it gave me the tools. I didn't really understand it at the time, but it really gave me the tools so that when I did go to New York, and every actor has to make the decision about which big city they need to go to. So for me, I'm 6'3". I have large features. My experience was mostly theater. I knew that I was going to get jobs for the most part on the stage. So I knew that LA wasn't really the town for me, possibly Chicago, but I just thought I need to go to New York and see. And so every actor has to make that decision about, well, what do I want to do, and which city is better for me to give it a go. So, but anyway, I knew what was great was that the tools that I got, how to audition, how to choose music, how to pick up dances, getting more experience performing.
How to protect your voice.
All of those things I learned at Michigan were so great once I got to New York and started to audition and started to, because I was very fortunate. I got to New York, and obviously I did Walt Disney World for a year, did a summer theater gig, then I did a cruise ship for about 3 months.
Amazing.
And then I moved to New York, and 2 weeks after I moved to New York, I got my very first job.
Oh, really?
At a theater just over the border in New Jersey called the Paper Mill Playhouse.
Oh my gosh! Just the Paper Mill Playhouse was your first gig? Are you serious?
Yeah, so that was a really...
So you're nailing equity job right away then?
Well, no, because I was non-equity at the time, so they needed a non-equity performer in that show.
In that theater, though. You went to, again, one of the major regional theaters in the country.
That was a really good gift, again, because that was my start in New York. I thought,
amazing.
All right, I may have a possibility. This might work.
I think I might have been right back when I dropped that stupid pre-med. I might be okay at this kind of stuff. Did somebody tell you when you were in high school you might be okay and that you should audition for musical theater?
No, that's a very good question. The director of musicals, he said, No, you should never go into musical theater, because I am an extremely emotional person. I wear my heart and my emotions on my sleeve and my leg and my everything. Like
nobody needs to see this 6'3" guy crying on the streets every day. Okay, Ian.
Oh my God. And he basically said, you're not strong enough.
Oh, you're going to scare people in New York, Ian. Don't go there.
So I don't know. I sometimes wonder if that little voice in my head was not a motivator. I really don't know.
A little flip of the bird to him. Oh yeah? You don't think, mister? I'll show you. Just for that, I'm doing it now, father, whatever.
But he had to say it from what he saw. So I appreciate him going out on a limb and telling me.
It's not the easiest life. Maybe he was just like, hey, I want you to have an easy life, and I know if you go for pre-med and you graduate, you're going to have lots of work. If you go into this, it was
really fun, because he was one of the people. He actually brought a school group when I did Billy Lawler in 42nd Street National Tour at the Stranahan. He came, and it was lovely. And then I can't remember which Broadway show or which of the. Maybe he came to see several, I don't know, but that was always fun.
Awesome. Did you bust his chops when he came and you say, this guy is the one who told me to never pursue my dreams? That's what he told me, right to my face. I was a very vulnerable 17-year-old, and he said, Ian, you don't got it, man. You don't got it. Don't even think you do. You didn't say that? I'm such a spiteful person. I might have done it. I might have been like, let me tell you everything I hate about this guy. No.
I mean, it is hard. What do you say? I see some of these college productions, and I think, well, I don't know, what was I like? And would I think that I had any possibilities? Because, there's so much. You've got to work. You really have to put in the energy. Then it is truly about what is the product that you're selling, yourself.
Yeah.
Like, does your voice match the way you look? Does your hair, the color of your skin, everything, are there going to be roles for you in the world? And then it's about who do you know and who knows you and how are you connected? And then are you in the right place
but
at
you
the right time?
But you didn't know anybody at the beginning. You knew nobody, right? You went to Michigan, back in the day, and then when you worked, were you in school? You did the school shows, I assume. Did you do shows outside of the school and during the summer or anything like that? Like summer stock?
Yep. I did some Croswell. I was in a few shows at the Croswell, and then just one at Toledo Repertory Theater. Is that what it's called?
Yep.
Toledo Repertory
Toledo
Theater?
Rep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you came back home then
but
in
then,
summer.
Yes, and then I did a summer stock at Music Theater of Wichita.
Okay.
That was one just before,
so
like
nothing
between
huge.
my
You didn't do a
changes.
bunch of huge things when you were in college then. You did mostly the college shows and a couple summer things. And then then you graduated, and then you ran to Disney? How did you find that? How did you get to Disney?
Well, actually, a friend of mine, I don't. It's so weird how I cannot remember who it was.
That's okay.
But said, I'm going to audition.
Yesterday, so that's all good.
Right. I want to go and audition for Disney in Detroit, but he didn't have a ride to the audition. Could I drive him? And I was like, sure. So I thought, well, while I'm going, I might as well audition. And so when I went, and I sang and danced, and a couple of weeks later, this is how I remember it.
Mm-hmm.
They called and said, we'd love for you to come down. And there was a brand new show. They had opened a new park called MGM Studios, which is now Hollywood Studios.
Yeah.
And they had a new show down there. And it was called Hollywood, and it was kind of a Las Vegas-y Disney showgirl show. So all the guys were 6 foot to 6'4".
Oh wow!
And the women were 5'7" to 6'1".
It was all legs. They wanted all legs for this big Hollywood dance show.
Yeah. So I just seemed to fit in, and so that was a really great gift, actually. So finishing college and then having a job for a whole year. So I did it for a year. where I was in one place. I was paying my bills. I had my own car. I had my own apartment. I was
Did they give you housing and that kind of stuff? Or?
Well, no, I had to find it.
Oh.
But, you know, that was, you know, it just was such a great gift. And then when I was
so
at
like
Disney,
four of you moved down there and four of you lived in one bedroom apartment and stuff like that? That's what you had to do?
No,
oh.
no. I think I shared an apartment.
That's just
with,
my life. Sorry.
this man named Jim Braswell, who had done quite a bit of Toledo. I don't know if he's from Toledo. Isn't that horrible? Yeah. But that's how I met him, was because we had done a chorus line at the Croswell Opera House. But he was down at Disney. He still lives in Orlando, but he was down at Disney, and so we just shared an apartment. He had his own bedroom, and I had my own bedroom. It was really a great apartment.
Yeah,
but,
cool.
But it was a really great gift to just. And then I did a few musicals in community theaters outside of Disney. But then after a year, I was ready to move on, and that was why I went to California. I had gotten this summer theater job, and then I did the cruise ship, which was an adventure. And then,
why is that? You laugh. Why was that an adventure? What was going on?
Well, you know, that was a lot of learning for me. Yeah. I just did it, like I said, for 3.5 months. I was a singer, dancer. It was a cast of, maybe 15 of us. And the people were from all over the world.
Yes.
The cast. And I had been asked to be the company manager. So not only was I, you know, learning to navigate how to perform on a moving ship. And let me tell you, that QE2 was a smaller ship, and we were doing a lot of transatlantic crossing during the winter.
Oh my gosh.
So we had some rocky seas. So navigating performing, and then I was not a good delegator.
How many people got seasick, first of all, on that trip? I mean, it's like, don't eat the lamb before we go out on this trip, like kind of thing, or?
I don't know. I only got ill once, and I'm not quite sure what happened. But anyway,
transatlantic trip, yeah. So you're not a good delegator, and people are.
Well, yeah. So it was about learning how to manage people and as well as perform. And
how did you get that gig? You were just a performer 5 seconds ago at Disney. Now you're managing stuff.
Well, no. I mean, I was performing, but I you know, we were rehearsing in Florida, and there were, you know, a bunch of us that could drive the van. And I just, after a few days, I was like, nope, sorry. Do you mind if I just drive the van? I'm going to drive the van every single day. Is that good with everybody? Great. And so they just saw me kind of take charge in things when we were in rehearsal. And they said, great, do you want to be the company manager? And I got paid extra, and I had my own room. And, you know, I was like, yes, I'll be the company manager.
But then you did everything because you couldn't delegate.
Pretty much.
Yeah. You're like, yeah.
Pretty much. That's what happened. But yeah, but it was great. I loved it. But then again, I was ready. And because when I left school, I really wanted to perform and to travel. So yes. I'm very fortunate that is actually what I am still doing.
And already, though, right away, as soon as you graduated from college, you were bipping and bopping all over the place, it sounded like. So you're down in Florida and Orlando doing some stuff. Then you're on cruise ships in California. You moved all the way across the country to California cruise ship. What did that cruise go down the Baja Coast or something? Or
well, no. I was out in California doing summer theater. Then the cruise...
Oh, the cruise ship was transatlantic, you said. That's right. Sorry.
Transatlantic, some in the Caribbean, some through the Panama Canal to Hawaii, but a lot of it was in the Mediterranean.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it was quite a remarkable...
So within 5 years, you're already you've seen the world. You've seen more of the world in the 4 years you graduated than the whole time you were alive, basically, it sounds like.
Yes. Well, I mean, again, I said my mom is British, so when I was a little kid... I was going to England every other year to see my see my family.
Gotcha. Did she keep her accent her whole life? She still have her accent?
Yes, she does.
She's not even trying to lose it. That's what it seems like to me.
She's a charmer. Everybody loves Sheila Knauer. That's the case.
Every time she opens her mouth, it's like, whoop, she's going to get what she wants.
Yeah. So yeah, I really loved to travel from a very young age. So and then I feel like the next big job after I had Jesus Christ Superstar at Paper Mill was playing Billy Lawler in the European tour of 42nd Street.
Oh my gosh! So you were in a European tour? Oh my gosh!
Yeah, which was great, and that was a good gift because Billy Lawler is a character in the show called 42nd Street, and he is what's called a song and dance man.
Okay.
And so when I was 20, whatever that was, 22, 3, I learned, I'm a song and dance man. This is what I do. This is how people see me. This is how I can make money.
What is a song and dance man?
Basically, a song and dance man is the character in the show that does the song and dance, and it is either a main character or a supporting character. So Eddie Ryan and Funny Girl.
Oklahoma is the Oklahoma guy who comes
Oklahoma, back? Yes. Will Parker.
Yeah, the guy who sings, man. Who's got he gets off the train.
Everything's up to date in Kansas City.
Yes, that's a song and dance guy. So it's like he may not be the lead in the show, but he's gonna have a number. He's gonna have a number that everybody's gonna clap at because it's gonna be a showstopper.
Or quite a few, yeah.
Yeah.
So Billy Lawler was a great role, and I played Billy about 7 or 8 times. National tour, regional, European tour. So that was a really good gift very early on to go, oh, right, this is what I'm selling.
Gotcha.
This is the product.
So you got to be a very strong dancer and a very strong singer.
Well, I am mostly a strong singer.
Gotcha.
And I can dance, and I can definitely act. So that was the gift. And so I was never going to, I did do shows like A Chorus Line and Cats and Seven Brides for Seven Brothers, which have strong dance.
Yes.
But for the most part, if you're going to hire me, you're going to hire me for singing and for maybe covering a role or, other reasons, because I was never terribly flexible. Like, I said I was 6'3", 6'4" my whole life. So you're not going to get me to, it's a very specific look.
Yeah, no, it's great. I love everything you're telling me. I've never heard of a song and dancer. I've never heard of that before.
Song and dance man.
Song and dance man. But you see those a lot in these certain shows. Like that's like Nostradamus. And he has that whole big, what are you and he sings and he dances around. It's like all of those kinds of, those are great characters. They're very popular. People love those characters.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not in every show, but
no.
So, but that was very helpful, and I was kind of have always been a tenor, top tenor.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as I've gotten older, I have developed my lower voice just because that's where most of the roles that I'm right for live now. So I'm kind of, you have to figure out as you get older, if you want to keep performing, you need to figure out, well, has my product changed? Am I selling something different? So, and as I've gotten older and my back is not so happy dancing, then I'm a character man. So that is what I'm selling. And there are times where you really have to advocate for yourself. You have to communicate to directors, choreographers, casting people, everybody. This is what I'm selling. This is what I'm looking to do. Because in the past 20, 25 years, most of my performing work has come from me emailing, making a phone call, communicating with somebody, most of the time somebody I've already worked with, and just saying, look, you know me as this young song and dance man or this young person. I am now no longer that. I am this. If you will let me come in and audition for this character part, I will hopefully solve the problem of you finding this part. And it has, for the most part, always worked. And that's how I've gotten jobs.
And that's where you're going back to what you're saying, where you've made connections over the time that you've been doing this, that you can reach out to people comfortably and say, hey, this is who I am now. You know what I am first and foremost, and that's a professional. So let's start there. Let's start there and then go. Okay. I'm a professional.
Most
you know my
definitely.
ass is going to show up every single day and work it every day. You know this. Yep. So let's start there and get it going.
Yeah. And oftentimes, because there are so many talented people in the world, it can't just be about talent. It has to be about talent, and also then how do you work with people? Are you a good team player? You know, are you going to show up? It is all of the things you just said. So
yeah, and that's where your St. Francis upbringing comes in, right? St. Francis and your British mother and a hardworking parts department dad, and you're like, no,
yes,
it's all who you are.
And being in Toledo, you're as a Midwest person, on the whole, we are very friendly, communicative people. We are there for our neighbors. We are there for each other, and I like that. I don't want to ever lose that.
I love it. I love it.
Even though I've lived in New York since 1992, so I've lived here more than I've lived anywhere else, really.
Right, but you still maintain some of, obviously, who you were growing up and as a person. You're not going to change that. I bet you some people in New York can probably spot you're not from New York.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
I mean, most of them, see me and they go, oh, great. Somebody I can ask to help. Where do I need to go in New York?
Yeah. But the neighbor was loud. You probably knocked on the door and said, I'm sorry, could you turn that down? They're like, oh, yeah, you must be from Ohio. That's you don't need to. Yeah, Ohio boy, we'll turn down the radio for you.
Yeah.
I bet that's probably a true story, wasn't it?
Well, no, but anyway.
So you were just killing it, and now you're making these connections now that you've been doing it for 40 years in the industry. 1992, you graduated, you said, from Michigan?
No, I graduated in 90.
90 from Michigan.
Yeah.
In 92, you moved to New York City. And what prompted you to do, did you know anybody there, or did you just go on by yourself?
I did go by myself, but I did know friends from college. Okay. So there were quite a few people who were in New York already. But, whenever you go to New York, whenever you make that decision to move to Los Angeles or to Chicago or wherever you move, it is about you making that decision and then making it happen. No one can do it for you. But I was very, very fortunate that the first person I called was a friend of mine from college, Diane, and she just happened to have a room in her apartment that was available.
That's
and it
what
was
I was going to ask. Yeah, somebody let you crash at their place.
$100 a month, which is nothing compared now. Yeah, exactly. But it was a great place for me to start.
Even in 1992, that was still a great price. Holy moly!
Oh, yeah, it was really amazing.
Yeah,
so,
I graduated high school in 1991, so I was out on my own doing stuff and having apartments and around that time, and that's a great price, man. Oh, I should have moved to New York with Diane. That's what I should have done.
Well, it was great too, just because I had known Diane, so there was a familiarity there. So even in, and that's what I tell a lot of young people who are moving to New York. I say, you need to get an apartment that is economically feasible for you, but you also want it to be in a safe place, and you want it to be some place where you feel safe, because the city, any city, can be crazy, and then this business can be very, very difficult.
Right.
You get a lot of no's, you get a lot of rejection, and you have to be able to withstand that. So if you have created a home for yourself, created a space in which you feel comfortable, and you can, I don't know if the words escape, but you can get comfort and then go, right, I'm ready for the next day.
Yeah, you got a little home sanctuary at least, yeah. and say, this is my safe place, this is my sanctuary. I'm going to go back out and have the door slammed in my face again, and then I know I have a place to go and come back again over and over.
You know, once I finished doing Mamma Mia, because I had done the national tour of Mamma Mia for 2 years, and then I did it on Broadway. And it was during that time that I found out that I could become a dual citizen of the UK and the United States. And so I decided to move to London to give it a try over there. And that was extremely sobering because I had three Broadway shows under my belt, and I don't know how many national tours, probably 8 national and international tours by that point under my belt. You know, so I was feeling fairly confident.
I am amazing. I'm going to walk into London, and they're going to be like, I cannot believe that Ian showed up. Let's give him a job immediately.
And the auditions were great. But, you know, they all would say, yeah, you're terrific, but we're gonna hire this friend of ours. And I was like, yep, it's exactly the same as anywhere else. They want to work with people that they know. So it's going to take me a while to get to know people in London, to get connected. And so I started to do more films and more cabarets and more concerts and more voiceovers. So I'm very grateful for that quote unquote difficult time, because it kind of forced me to look outside of my normal routine and start to look at other avenues of performing, which I didn't know if I would necessarily like, and I loved it. I loved doing all those different things. You know, the immediacy of an audience responding is something that I will never not want.
Not get sick of that.
But no, but film and TV work and voiceovers, even though you don't have an audience, you're really just doing it and hoping that what you're doing is working. But there's also something there's such a great challenge about that as well.
Yeah, see, that's what I was going to ask you, because you mentioned, of course, like having the connections. It's like when you get the connections and they can help you get the jobs, but then there's that catch-22 of like, well, how do I make the connections if I'm not getting the job? Okay, so how do you do that? How do you do that? Because I know we have listeners of the podcast that obviously are in New York City right now that are young and trying to break into the business, or people that are in college right now that listen to it. Like, how do you go about doing that? How did you do it, I should ask?
Well, it's let's not talk about, because I'm more than happy to, but because mine was that I just kept auditioning and auditioning
and auditioning. There you go. That's good.
And so there were a gazillion auditions when I was in New York, and there are not as many anymore. So, and we also didn't have the internet. We didn't have a lot of tools that performers now can use. So what I would say to a performer now is really, you know, our job is to figure out what we're selling. And you can do that by, you know, figuring out what fits in your body, what fits in your voice, singing-wise, in terms of you being a tenor or a bass. Obviously, if you're young, then you're going to be going for younger roles. But it's also asking other people around you, saying, like, okay, Oklahoma's coming up. Do you think I'm a Judd? Do you think I'm a Curly? Do you think I'm a Will? Do you think I'm an Ali Hakim? You know, and then you're also getting information from other people. And then once you start to determine where you fit in each show, it's about you making sure you're ready to audition. Let's say Phantom of the Opera is happening and you're like, oh, I need to play the Phantom of the Opera. Well, let's say that audition comes and you better be ready to audition for it, because that's your job.
Yeah.
So I would say to a young performer, look and find those roles, whether they be on Broadway, whether they be in a national tour, whether they just be in shows that you've done. Make sure that you're ready to audition with a song from that show or a song that's like those characters, and just know that you've got that should that audition come along.
There you go.
Then it's also taking classes, and also getting back to the internet thing. It's then putting that on tape. If you can do a cabaret and then get somebody to film you, or, it's just trying to create opportunities for you to perform. Oftentimes when I'm working with somebody, or when I haven't worked with somebody, they will say, would you recommend me to your agent? Or could you put me forward for this show? And I can't unless I've seen them perform.
Yeah,
because
it's your word too.
It's my word on the line.
Yeah.
And I want to be helpful to that young performer, but I also need to be helpful to whomever it is that's looking for performers.
Yes.
So, but if I've performed with them and I've seen them in a cabaret, or if they have video of themselves and put it on YouTube, or put it on whatever is the place to put it on now, it's Instagram now.
Yeah, it's everywhere. All these social media platforms. Yeah, put it on Vimeo, put it on YouTube, put it on their websites, put it on everything.
Those are extremely helpful, because if somebody is looking, you can immediately say, here is me performing blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And that is extremely helpful for a casting person. I have had several phone calls throughout the years, somebody saying, do you happen to know a non-equity person who, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yep, I just worked with a person. Nice. I think they're right. And was able to connect them. And they had video. They did go in and audition, but they had something that they could immediately send, because this person who was casting whatever it was in need immediately.
Yeah.
But then they got the job. And so that was really wonderful.
It isn't that much different than the community theater, though, here, it sounds like. It's like, hey, we need a boy 16 years old. Anybody got a boy that's 16 that can sing and dance? Anybody? And like, oh, yeah, I know somebody. And boom, boom, next thing you know, they're calling that kid up and saying, hey, we really need somebody for the full Monty here, and we didn't have anybody audition that fit the part. Would you be interested? And it's like, because Ian Knauer said you're good at this. And then that kid comes in and is good. And if he stunk, he's like, and now you've cut, that would be nice job, Ian. And that's what you don't want to have. Exactly. Casting directors aren't going to keep their job very long if they're not casting the right people.
Exactly. Yeah. So
that's great advice, though. I love everything you're saying on all this kind of stuff. Also, you were talking about film and that kind of stuff, and, be open to that as well, right? Be open to all kinds of things.
Yeah, I mean, for me, that's something that I love to do and want to do more of it. I find that the majority of my work naturally just comes from stage work, but who knows? We will see.
Yeah, you never know, man. Whew, what a life you had! I love everything. Yes, everything about what you've done and said. My wife and I make trips to New York probably 2-3 times a year. I might give you a call and see if you're available and go out and have some coffee.
Yes, that would be great. I would love that.
I would love to meet you and say hi to you and just have a normal conversation that isn't all about theater all the time, and just sit down and be like, oh, is this where you live? Is this your neighborhood? And just chit chat for a while. Cool.
Yeah, that'd be great.
All right. Well, thanks again for coming on. I really appreciate you talking with me and putting up with me calling you late.
I really appreciate it. Thanks so much. It's been a pleasure.
Amazing.
And I hope everything continues to go well for you.
Oh, thanks. You too, man. Bye.
Bye.